This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everyone. In AWS, it's quite common that we tend to get a lot of bills than expected. So oftentimes we enter into the billing dashboard and see how much is the total cost that we have encountered and which service has consumed what and in which region, which service is costing me more, why. All these things you would have seen there. And at the same time, I have a lot of people coming and asking me, hey Manu, I have been charged $50, $100, $200. To avoid this, what we can do is even in organizations, we'll be setting up budget alerts like okay if my monthly budget is $100, if I consume 50%, that means whenever I reach or whenever my bill incurs 50%, I want to get an alert so that I'll be careful that okay, I'm running out of resources, I'll plan my usage accordingly. So one of the way to do that is first let's go to the billing dashboard. So here you can search in the billing dashboard. Here I have signed in as a root user. You can see that I have signed in as a root user. Okay, so right now my current bill is $25, and it's a forecast. $25, 25.93 is the forecast, and this is my current billing, and this is the November month billing. And if you want to see what are my overall bills, you can see them. So what is the November bill? What is the December bill? I do extensive trainings along with my full-time job. So you would see a lot of bills. So let's not worry about it. So if you observe this, okay, out of this $15, you can see okay, from North Virginia in the US East one, I incurred $12, and out of the $12, I have been charged EBS volumes $5.60. So for the simple storage, for the simple secure, for the Route 53, I have been charged $1. So like this, you will get a detailed report on what's been done. So, but the question is not that. How do you get notified? So at the left pane of the billing window, you have something called as budgets. Okay, for example, I want to create a budget. So you can say that whether you want to go customized or whether you want to go template. So most of them are covered in the template simplified. So you can go with a monthly cost budget and tell that, okay, this is my Manu AWS monthly budget. You can give some name which makes sense. Okay, what is my overall budget? Let for example, for the sake of the recording, I'll say my monthly budget is $100. Okay, $100, and whenever I reach $100, I should get an email. Okay, so the email address that I'm giving is the cloudcarries@gmail.com. Okay, scope, all the AWS services are in the scope of the budget, or you can also mention I want whenever AWS EC2 reaches 80% of the budget, so I want to get an alert, or I want AWS S3 whenever it reaches 80%, I want to get an alert. You can mention any way of your choice, but I did mention overall. Okay, if you want to go in a detailed approach, you can choose a different template here, customize the template, you can mention everything, but I want to go the overall budget on at account level. So you will be notified when your spend reaches 85%. Okay, your actual spend reaches the 100%, and if your forecasted spend reaches 100%, what exactly it is, let's talk about it. Okay, so create a budget, and or you can let me show you the customized advanced as well. So this is, you don't get much options here if you go with that. For example, if I want some other advanced options, I'll show you. So cost budget recommended, yes, go here. Next, I would say scroll down, scroll down. I would like to create the budget this way. Mm, uh, monthly AWS 6 a.m. training. So this is the budget that I would like to get, period budget and recurring budget. Every month I want to have the budget, same budget. So starting from December, I want this to be applied, or I can also mention starting from November. And budget method. So is this fixed or planned, adjusted? It's a fixed. So I'm expecting it should not reach more than $100. Enter your budget, and it's $100. Okay, so all the AWS services, or you want to mention specified address, you can mention, okay, I want to be notified only when these costs. Okay, you can mention that EC2, you can mention. So for example, one particular service, or okay, for example, you can mention EC2. Okay, you can mention Elastic Cloud Compute, okay, Elastic Cloud Compute, others. So you can mention what are all the services that you are expecting to consume. You can also mark them, or if you are not interested, you want things in a whole, okay, all AWS services. So there are high chances that you will consume services which you don't know. If you don't mark them, you would incur costs which you won't be notified. So specify all the AWS services, and then that's it. Next. And how the alerts work. So I have given the budget as $100. So whenever I reaches $100, I should get an alert. But it doesn't make sense, right? I can spend a maximum of $100, but I should be notified whenever I reaches close to 75%. That means whenever I reaches 75% of my utilization, I of 75% of my $100 budget, I want to get an alert. So alert is so whenever I reaches 75% of my budget of the actual, I should get an alert, and the notification is the cloud carriers at the rate gmail.com. For the sake of recording, I'm using Gmail. Okay, so in production, you can use some PagerDuty, Slack, or your company email address as well. So I also want to add another threshold. Okay, so whenever I reaches budgeted amount, right? Whenever I reach, okay, whenever I reach, okay, uh, 60%. For example, forecasted. So here I don't want to go with the actual forecasted. Whenever I reach a threshold, okay, for example here, 75% of the actual budget. Whenever you reach a $75, you will get a bill, right? So before that itself, I want to have one more alert, 60%. So whenever your budget reaches 60%, okay, not really. Okay, if your system forecasts, okay, for example, today I have consumed $40, and as per the utilization, your system is forecasting, but by tomorrow you will be consuming, okay, 60% of the budget amount. That means $60. I want to get an alert so that you'll be careful and you'll be cautious. Okay, so I want one more alert. Even here, same, I want to have it. So done. Click next. So the first alert, okay, alert one and two alerts I have created for my budget. Whenever I reach a 75% of my budget, that means whenever I consume 75% of my $100, I will get a email notification. And at the same time, whenever my AWS forecast that my billing is close to 60%, I'll also get a notification. Next. So that's it. Create a budget. That's it, we are good. Now the budget is on. Okay, so you won't get any billing or any, you don't AWS don't charge you for this billing. Okay, so this is one way of creating AWS billing, and I mean exploring the AWS billing and exploring how to configure the budget alerts. Okay, hope this video is helpful. Thank you. I'll see you in the next session.